Good evening and welcome along to the latest edition of the Endless Celts Podcast. We're going to talk about the football, Ross, but fucking Oasis are back tomorrow. Let's talk about that instead.
Aye, well, here's hope, mate. I'll be lying in my bed staring at the ceiling tonight, wondering if it's got to be a greatest hits or the lads are getting back together.
Oh, let's just hope. Let's just hope, but I mean, tickets are got to be gold dust, aren't they? They've got to be gold dust.
By the way, it'll be funny if nothing's happening and they've just put everybody in.
Oh, but it could be I wouldn't be surprised. Could be the greatest move ever just to sell an album or whatever.
Yep.
Bit like the Celtic board with a signing.
Oh.
Because we'll get into that. We'll get into that. But anyway, first of all, Jed, how you doing? How was your weekend and stuff?
Yeah, it was good. Just over too quick. It's the only thing. You know, Friday night, and before you know it, it's Monday morning back at work. But 1 week to go till I'm off on holiday, so.
All right, not bad. Where are you up to?
Tenerife.
Oh, decent.
Well, next Tuesday.
All right, I shall get the football then. What about yourself, Ross? Were you busy? Well, I mean, I know what you were up to, but how was your weekend?
It was really good. Obviously, as you're well aware, it was Wayne's birthday. Double figures. So we had the family over on Friday night, and then me, the Wayne, and the wife went into Glasgow, and the Wayne spent all her money that she got for her birthday. I just kind of tagged along the back until it was time to go for dinner and a pint. And then we had a wee overnight in the hotel, and then they done a bit of shopping on Sunday morning, and I went to Malone's in Glasgow and enjoyed 5 or 6 pints of the black stuff and enjoyed Celtic putting another team away in the domestic charge.
That's it. And it was a nice weekend, and Willie kindly has done us a wee intro, so we'll watch it. I thought he wasn't got to be able to do it because it's his wife's birthday day, so happy birthday, Susan, but thanks for doing this, William. So this is a wee hint to what's coming up tonight for everybody watching along. Just thanks again for Wally for doing that, because I know he's obviously a busy man today. But we'll just come straight to yourself, Jed. Just a wee wee brief overview, just how you seen the game on Sunday.
Yeah, I thought, to be honest, I thought we played really well. I'm beginning to, it reminds me of Rodgers' first season when he came. And we're really passing the ball quick. The pressing, as soon as we lost the ball, we're pressing. And let's be honest, it's over the last few seasons, St Mirren has not been an easy place to go. Yeah, we've won a few, but it's never been easy. But yesterday, I thought we dominated from start to finish. And I say, did we really miss Matt O'Reilly? You know, I thought Bernardo done well when he came on. When he took his place. But yeah, I just thought done well. Ida had a couple of half chances. He could probably maybe have done a wee bit better. But again, Forrest as well. Forrest was decent. And yeah, things are looking good on the front. I just hope, as we all do, that we strengthen this week to complement the players that we've got.
Nah, can't argue much with that. And it was, like Jed said there, Ross, it was quite a convincing victory. Just how did you see the game?
Pretty much how Jed's seen it. I felt like we played really well. I think we've done what we've done in every game so far this season, and that we've got a really early goal. Started really quick, took the game away from the opponent, whoever it is at the time, to the point that they just can't get back into the game. Once we get 2 goals in front, we never really look like losing a goal. And that was the case yesterday. I felt there was a number of good individual performances. Obviously, Cal McGregor does what Cal McGregor does. Jed touched on Bernardo. I thought he did a really good game. Listen, he's not by any stretch Matt O'Reilly, but in domestic football, for the most part, you won't see a massive drop-off or miss Matt O'Reilly too much in most of the games, because Bernardo can come in and just slot into that role. He's not as obviously good a player as Matt O'Reilly, but it's enough domestically. In terms of Europe, you might see a difference more then, but we don't know if we're going to get other signings in. Time will tell on that, but currently, Bernardo, for me, is more than good enough, and he's got enough of a ceiling to possibly reach the heights of Matt O'Reilly in a Celtic jersey. Maybe not quite the heights, but there or thereabouts. But overall, another really good performance. And as I said, we took the game away from St Mirren early, and then after that, I don't think I wouldn't say we played within ourselves, but we're not having to exert too much energy that we don't have to. We're conserving energy because we're taking the game away from teams, and then we're just, for want of a better phrase, going through the motions, but still comfortable in the game and just doing enough. And then we get the third goal in the second. Was it second? I think it was the second half. Aye, and it was just a really good all-round team performance. And we're all, I think I said on last week's podcast that different for last season. I think that there's still individual performances in there, but we're playing better as a team and functioning better as a team. And when we do that, it's really difficult for anybody in Scotland to try and live with us.
No, I think you make very good points there, Ross. Now, Kenny could just come straight back to him, just the first goal and stuff. We're talking about quick starts. I think every game, somebody might correct me, but I think every game this season we've scored in the first 10 minutes anyway. And always, it is that old cliche, getting off to a good start and stuff is key. And you almost can't get any quicker than what Callum McGregor done on Sunday. And it was a very good strike. James Forrest obviously just cut in for the right-hand side and just sets him up. And John would have been, again, once happy with he likes how he shot for outside the box. But it's a really great strike for Callum McGregor, and he's really taken on. I thought he started the season, like many players, but he has started the season really bright.
Aye, he has. I think, if memory serves me right, this time last year, I felt like he was maybe I don't know what it was, but he just looked like he was a yard slower, and he actually looked like he was carrying a wee bit extra weight. As the season progressed, he came into his own and became the Cal McGregor we all know. This season, I think he's like right at it, bang at it, like everybody. But the goal itself was a brilliant goal, and I think that, as you said there, John likes a shot from outside the box, and I think that's an obvious tactic so far this season. I think Rodgers is asking guys like Cal McGregor to have shots at goal when they, if and when they see the opportunity, because that's 2 goals now that I think Cal McGregor's got from outside the box, possibly in the last 2 games, but certainly in the first few games anyway, he's definitely got 2 goals outside the box. He's got that in his locker, and it was just a really well worked goal. We get it. I think it gets fed out wide, and then we sort of bring it back inside, and Cal McGregor picks it up in space, and he just takes the shot. And it wasn't the greatest shot, but it's on target, and it asked the keeper a question, and he wasn't equal to it because it was always going away from him and heading into that corner. So it wasn't struck the most venom, but it was quite precise, and that's what beat the keeper. And it was a really good goal and a great start.
Nah, totally agree. And just as Ross said there, Jed, he could obviously talk about the goal as well, but do you think maybe it is a deliberate tactic for Rodgers getting us to shoot for more outside the box and things like that? I mean, you look at Cal McGregor's first time round with Rodgers, he scored a lot. I'm not saying he scored a lot of goals outside the box, but he scored a lot of goals. So maybe he's looking at guys like McGregor, knows his ability, saying, look, I know your numbers should be a wee bit better in terms of scoring goals.
Yeah, well, he said that to Matt O'Reilly last season, didn't he? Am I right in saying that McGregor scored 2 goals last season? So he's already got the 2 goals up.
I don't know. Doesn't he feel like he scored a lot?
Is that right? Aye, there you go.
Yeah, I think he didn't score a lot. I seen that today, and I actually meant to look it up to see if it was true. But look, I think he's we're taking shots from outside the goal, like Bernardo's goal in the cup final. If the keeper doesn't hold it properly, there's a chance, a potential spillage, and then you're looking for your striker to go in and to finish it off like he'd have done back in May. Yeah, but I think as well, when Ross, you mentioned earlier, McGregor last year, he was still coming back for that injury as well. So maybe just he's fully fit. He's gave up international football. I mean, it was funny, as soon as he scored the goal, the palm into the crowd to see Steve Clark, thinking. But look, I'm delighted he's gave it up, because it allows, he's going to be able to concentrate and playing for us, and he'll get a wee break the end of this weekend, because they're going to the international break. So that it bodes well for us as a club. So it doesn't also Franny, the goal, how I know it's the 3rd goal, but Kuhn, that's 3 assists, I think he said already as well.
So I'll be at least 3 anyway.
Yeah. So things are looking good, guys. We just need to, like I say, strengthen the squad. That's all I'm asking.
I think it's funny you touch on the Steve Clark thing, because I think it was the same when he scored against Hibs as well. McGregor at pan to the crowd, and there's Steve Clark there, and you're like, he must be sitting there like, oh Jesus, he's just sacked it for international football, and it looks like he's on fire with a World Cup campaign coming up and stuff. It's not the best, but it might allow other guys to kind of come through. But Jed, I'll kind of come back to you on the second goal. You can talk about that. I mean, that'll be another one that needs to step up in Matt O'Reilly's absence. Obviously, there was rumours. I say rumours. There was talk of a move to Leicester and things like that. Maybe happening. Doesn't really look like that's materialised for that. So hopefully that continues. But I mean, it was another great striker. I can't remember who plays the diagonal ball over, but was it Johnson? Maeda's header back to him was cracking, and obviously the way he strikes the ball, it's something McGregor. It's going away for the keeper, but it's curling away for the keeper, so never ever getting there. Yeah,
it was on the half volley, and just before, I mean, I was actually in the pub watching it, and my sister came up with me, and I was just saying to her before it, I says, we deserve another goal here, and then bang, we got it. and that was a great header back. I thought Maeda as well, if you look, potentially could have been a penalty. He got right back up and had the shot. He looks hungry. He does look hungry, and it's, again, couldn't be coming at a better time than coming up to the game on Sunday. But yeah, I've been saying for the last 3 weeks, I've been impressed with Alistair Johnson, and he's continuing that. He's putting that was a great. He's seen the move, put it in, Maeda headed it back, and then fantastic finish from Hatate. And we all know he can do that. That's in his locker. He can do that all the time. So it's all these different options. It's not a case of let's just get it down and cut it back. Being able to just get a ball in quick and then get the knockdown, which proved to be vital for us getting the second goal. So yeah, very, very pleased with it. Very good goal.
I know it was a very good goal, and it's funny. Like it's interesting. Jed says that, Ross. Obviously, we either starting at the weekend. Obviously, maybe a bit due to Kogo's injury, but it does give us obviously that wee bit difference where we can go a lot more direct, maybe a wee bit quicker. And obviously, it's Maeda that's knocked it down and stuff. But the goals are equally as pleasing as one that's defence splitting and stuff as well. It's not just a hopeful punt for Alistair Johnson and stuff, and it's a very clever knockback for Maeda as well. It's no all what the goal, but the goals are just as pleasing as that. Like I say, your ones where you maybe play 10, 15 passes or whatever, or split a defence open.
I think all goals are pleasing, of course, but I think that it shows that we've got. Obviously, we can, as you say, you can play the nice football, but obviously, we bring in Ida in and stuff. It allows us to change it up and go more direct, as you say. So it shows that we've got more than one string to our bow, if you like. But listen, we're playing well, and we're able to change it up throughout the match in terms of the way, as we say, go direct, play football out for the back, get it out wide quick. We're playing all different types, but it's all still looking more like the Rodgers style, as Jed said earlier in the podcast. It is looking like that sort of. It's got that air about it in terms of putting teams away and really winning games for the most part fairly easily. And it's got that area, that first season when Rodgers came in. Obviously, this is his second season. It took him a wee bit. It's different all the time. They're different teams, but it really feels like we're starting to see a proper Rodgers team on the pitch now. And I'm just glad that we held on to the manager and we didn't knee jerk.
Oh, there was no down
I
here
jest.
like that. Certainly not the night. But no, it's very good points, mate. I do get what you're saying, Ross. It is. I know it's the second season this time around, but it does a lot of similarities. It does feel like the first time Rodgers was round, where you were just almost steamrolling teams. I think at one point after about half an hour, it showed you a start with about 80% possession again, a bit away from home, and it just shows you how much we're dominating games, how quick we're possibly winning the ball back as well, which is always as good. The press is clearly quite high and working and stuff. And obviously we go into the second half, Jed. Wee bit similar to the Hibs game, where I still think certainly for the most part we controlled the game. But obviously St Mirren were going to maybe have a wee go, and they did take a wee spell. It felt similar to round about the Hibs time, where maybe 55, 60 minutes they had a wee spell, but then we made some changes. Kuhn came on. I think it was good to see him coming on, because we're all a wee bit concerned when being on the bench, and obviously Rodgers had confirmed they hadn't trained a lot, so like, guy's been flying, but he comes on, touched on it earlier, he gets another assist, and great finish for Alistair Johnson.
Yeah, it was. I think as well, guys, you've got to remember the conditions were horrendous. I mean, it was absolutely pelting it down all game, and it's no nice. It's no nice to be playing in that. But no, again, the second half, we just totally controlled the game. And in fact, even their manager, I've seen in the BBC, his comments after the post-match interview, And he was actually very, very complimentary of Celtic, which I didn't think it would come. He would come out like that. And having to say, I couldn't disagree with. We were just better at everything. We were quicker at everything. We coped with the conditions better. Look, we put it. Of course, we wanted to win mega goals, but listen, we were all but our hand off for 3-0 prior to the game yesterday. Every single Celtic fan were received because, like I say, if you look, it's not been a favourite ground for us over the last 3-4 seasons. So, again, just delighted. 3 points and then up the road.
It's totally all what we wanted. Ross, do you think, just talking about the conditions, you think maybe was maybe played a part in maybe, I don't want to say like the performance levels dipped in the second half, but there did seem a bit of a drop off. Could be the subs, could be guys like Eden and that just getting a wee bit leggy. I don't know how you seen it, and obviously just touch on the third goal as well.
Well, in terms of, listen, we did drop off a bit in the second half, but I think I sort of alluded to it earlier, and I think that it was more because the game was done at 2-0. St Mirren were trying, but like we've said, as soon as we lose the ball, we swarm all over the team and we win the ball back fairly quickly. And teams against us don't get a chance really to build up a heady steam. And I think that the conditions probably played a part, but then at the same time, as Jed said, we coped with it really well in the first half, and we got our goals, and then the second half, we obviously get the third goal, and I was absolutely delighted for Kuhn, first of all, coming off the bench, excuse me, and getting his assist. He's playing really, really well now, and he's looking like the signing that we all hoped he would be straight away, but obviously there was other mitigating circumstances why that didn't happen. But Alistair Johnston to get his goal, he doesn't get many goals. I think the last time he scored might have been at the same park, but I don't know if he was accredited that goal because it was a funny one. He was at the back post and it kind of ricocheted, but I don't know if it was given to him. But he's not got many goals, but he took that one really well. He has threatened on occasion coming in and putting the ball up with chances like that, and he's maybe just put it over the bar or just by the post, or the keeper's had a good save. But he has threatened that type of goal towards the end of last season, start of this season, and he got his rewards for being in the position, and he took it really well for, I mean, a guy that most would say probably isn't as gifted as some at the top end of the pitch. I think he's improved a lot in that area. I think when he first came in, he was certainly brilliant defensively, but I think he certainly, I would say under Rodgers more so, he's probably worked on that side of his game a bit more, and you can see the improvements, and we're reaping the benefits. Even, like say, towards the end of last season, we started to build up that heady steam and get that form. Alistair Johnston and Kuhn, they started to get a real understanding with each other, that overlap and stuff like that. And they were a big part. I mean, obviously, everybody played their part, but they were a big part as to why we were playing really well as well towards the end of the season, just that link-up. So, delighted for both of them, and it was a really well-worked goal. That basically just took the game completely away from St Mirren if it wasn't already taken away from him before that.
See as well, Ross, on the Alistair Johnston, somebody put up a comment earlier about saying that Hatate and Johnson were poor in Europe last year. I know I couldn't disagree with that. I think as well, because Johnson is such a good Copa America. He got put in the team of the tournament, and he just seems to have carried that on. He's came back with a bit more confident. I think in his personal life, I think he's got engaged, and it's just wee things like that. He's obviously settling now in Scotland, and as you said, Ross, I think Rodgers is certainly telling me need to try and get in, got the park a wee bit more and prove that. So I've been really pleased with him so far. And I think it's just, like I said, it's just a follow-on from his very good Copa America tournament.
Yep.
And I totally agree on that. And I think the numbers, I mean, Brown Warriors kind of touched on it, but he's crossing it. I think Alice Johnson needs to kind of, I know we're more of a vintage where it's the eye test you like to give guys and that, but I do think he needs to maybe try and up his number. Not expecting 10 goals a season, but maybe certainly assists. I think Alistair Johnson maybe could work on that. And I think for me, Rodgers, I think, has really played this well with Alistair Johnson and Greg Taylor, in the sense that we all know that Rodgers kind of likes your more traditional sort of wing backs, if you like, to hug the touchline, but obviously realised that isn't Taylor's greatest sort of attributes, Ross, and it seems Taylor seems to be really good at that inverted bit, and you see him just seems to be popping up everywhere, and it feels like Rodgers obviously wants to press it, taking corners now too, but it feels like Rodgers obviously wants to. It just shows a sign of a good manager as well. That obviously Rodgers is sacrificing to an extent. Maybe I don't know, but it looks like maybe he's sacrificing how he wants to play and just realising, right, the best I'm going to get out of Taylor is if I let him play in there. Knows Maeda can cover up and down that and will hug that touchline. Whereas Alistair Johnson does look a lot more comfortable staying wide right, if you like, and Kuhn loves coming in. It can go outside, but loves coming inside. So it looks like a good balance in the left and right now.
I would agree with that. I think you can see the differences on each side, like you've sort of touched on there, and that, as I said as well, that you see Alistair Johnson overlapping Kuhn, but then at the same time you'll see him like getting up beside him, but coming inside like he did to get his goal, where he's on the touchline, if you like, but he does that angled run in towards the box when he knows Kuhn is picking the ball up in the like the shy line. And that's when they link up and he comes inside and gets it, or he can go outside him and get the link up as well. Whereas on the other side with Greg Taylor, I think that, for wanting to sound stupid here, but I think that Greg Taylor, like you've said, I think Rodgers has realised that his strongest point isn't he as that overlapping fullback and hitting the byline. But I think Rodgers hasn't said like just solely play the inverted role. I think he's given him a sort of, and this is the bit that might sound stupid, I feel like Greg Taylor's maybe playing like a bit of a free role, and that he's been told like overlap when you can, which is not often, but excuse me, like you've said, he doesn't need to all the time because Maeda's so good at getting up and down that touchline, but play that inverted role and just play your game how you feel comfortable, but just sort of play off the cuff a wee bit, and just wherever you find yourself in the pitch, play that way then. Jed looks younger than
Ross. What kind of TV's that you've got? I'll need to get one of them.
I don't know, Jed.
Hell, man.
Don't shoot yourself down. You're probably the best looking on the pod.
Take it, Jed.
I'm absolutely not.
I'll come to yourself.
But aye.
Oh, right, sorry,
I just kind of that's kind of just what I was sort of getting at. But aye, it's much like what you said. There is a really good balance there, but there's big differences on each side. And there's Stephen in the comments, just being a total Stephen.
By the way, see on that. Let's be honest with you. Every single Celtic fan has criticised Greg Taylor. We've all done it. But credit where it's due, he's actually been playing pretty decent. The end of last season, beginning of this season, so yes, of course we need a stronger left back as well. But I'll give him credit where it's due. He has actually been playing pretty well. So it has. That's all I just want to say in Greg Taylor.
Aye. No, it has, and you hope obviously it's not made official, but I think it's all but official with this boy for Barcelona. It just whether he's coming in for a start to be a starter or not, we'll know. Let's not pretend we all know anything about the guy or that. But if nothing else,
guys, do you think it'd be unfair if the boy came in and started on Sunday?
100%.
Ross?
I think anybody that signs this week won't start on Sunday. unless
see, to be fair
maybe
though,
centre half, but I don't know. But again, I've probably been a centre half.
I don't think that the guy will come in and he'll start against Rangers when Brendan Rodgers knows what Greg Taylor can offer. But that's not to say that going forward, Rodgers has it in his mind for likes of Europe that this guy might be the one to go with, because listen, everybody has pointed it out that Greg Taylor did have his deficiencies in Europe last year, and I'll hold my hands up and say that he was targeted, and he is targeted a lot in Europe. But I wouldn't say that it's solely because of Greg Taylor's like height and stuff like that. I think Greg Taylor is he's playing that inverted role where he finds himself inside the pitch, he finds himself further up the pitch, trying to affect the game at the top end, and then I've said it before, that's when you see him being targeted, because he's out of that position where your fullback would ordinarily be, and the ball, because he's inside, the ball is put over his head, and I think that's why it looks like they're targeting him, because he's height. To me, I could be wrong, but I feel like that it looks like they're targeting him because he's height, because he's inside the pitch and he's getting that ball played over the top of him. Whereas if he was an out and out overlapping fullback, he would be finding himself not inside the pitch but outside and out of position. He wouldn't be getting the ball. If he is out of position, the ball's not getting diagonally put over his head for there, because he's further up than that.
Well, they're targeting the left side because of Liam Scales as well. If you look, Aberdeen done it in the semi-final. So they did, and I think this is in Europe. They looked where are we weak at the left side because of the lack of height in Taylor and the lack of ability for
and by the way, see if I'm wrong with what I'm sort of analysing there, or my analysis there, which I could well be. That's what I was sort of coming on to say, is maybe Rodgers thinks that this guy will be the guy to sort of combat that in Europe and stop that for being the target on that side. But at the same time, you have to say, even if he does come in, with the greatest respect to Liam Scales, it's still a huge sort of chasm on that side, if you like. Certainly on the left side, a centre back. And I know, I said it myself, that he played the majority of the games in Europe last year, and he was really, really good. And his recovery pace at times was brilliant to win tackles where he was sliding in, it was going out for a throw-in. And at times he was covering Greg Taylor as well, because he was further up the pitch. But for me, all that said, and how well he did perform in Europe last season, it was his richest vein of form in a Celtic jersey. But since then, I think we can see the deficiencies in his game, certainly in the big games against the better teams. You've seen it against Rangers last year, certainly in, if I remember rightly, I think it was the last game we beat them 2-1. But a lot of the time, Rangers were just sitting off him and allowing him to have the ball, waiting for him to inevitably give it away, which he did on occasion. He's not going to do it every single time, but he did on occasion. And I think the big teams will recognise that and allow, certainly at Parkhead, I think at times they'll allow him to be on the ball and then pick up the sort of loose ones that he will inevitably do. And then that's when they can counter us. But listen, maybe we'll get another left centre back in, and we won't need to worry about that. Time will tell.
But see, this supposedly Barcelona kid that's coming in, is he tall? How tall is he? Is
5'10", I think, according to Wikipedia.
So a wee bit taller than Taylor.
That's all I'm going off. So he's not the tallest.
Couple inches wearing meat.
Okay, that's right. Your booster seat.
Yeah.
I could imagine Stephen, if this happened, get Moy back and still keep Greg Taylor left back.
Just imagine Stephen's face. That happened that before.
Oh, he'd take a heart attack. That'd
be worth it.
Well, this is true. But we'll just we'll move on to some sort of player performances, Jed. Obviously, you can touch on I think the midfield three was good. Especially as we say, McGregor and Hatate stepping up. But I think out the wide positions right now, we are absolutely flying. Kuhn's had a great start to the season. Ross touched on it earlier, talking about how it looks like it's totally struggled there. touched on it earlier about how it looks like the quality that Brendan Rodgers always wanted. He's looking a lot more confident. He's absolutely flying. Maeda, he's had a great start to the season, and obviously James Forrest has carried on last season's form into this season. I just think in the wings anyway, Jed, we're really, really looking good.
Yeah, and I think as well, I know we're going to touch on it. We're going to touch on this weekend very briefly, but I was thinking about this watching the game yesterday. Does Forrest deserve to get dropped to bring Kuhn in? Because Maeda's going to start. Let's be honest, Maeda's going to be starting. So does Forrest deserve to be dropped for Kuhn? I honestly don't know. 1 minute I'm saying he does, but then Forrest has that wee bit more experience playing in the games as well. So it will be interesting because he doesn't deserve to be dropped for the game in Sunday. But that's how Rodgers gets paid the big bucks. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I'd be quite happy if he starts as well, if Forrest starts, but I'll also be happy if Kuhn starts.
So I think that's it.
I don't know what other people think of that.
We'll see if anybody pipes up in the comments and stuff.
Because I can't see anybody saying we drop Maeda. I'll be gobsmacked. Because of what he does against Tavernier and nullifies Tavernier for going forward as well.
Yes, and I think Tavernier just is absolute shit. Must have nightmares with Maeda. Absolute nightmares. Stephen's obviously punting for Kuhn to start.
Again, I can't disagree with that. That's what I'm saying. One minute I'm saying Kuhn should be playing, then Forrest should be playing. I can't argue against what Stephen said there. So there you go.
There's Romboy even getting in Forrest. So
it's a nice position.
I love Forrest.
I'll come to yourself.
It's a nice position. What a dilemma. Fantastic. Palmer's right down the list now, I think, as well.
I think so. He seems to be putting things on Instagram or TikTok that's wee cryptic messages or something as well. So I don't know what the deal is with him and Yang. Yang's getting ahead of Palmeros, but it is a good position. We're in the wide ones. Obviously, Forrest can play right or left. He's probably more effective on the right. For me, I reckon. I mean, I'm a Jedi. I'm not got Maeda for me has to start on the left, but I would probably argue Kuhn. But Forrest, it would be his 500 game. Is it just one of them where the stars align for it? I don't know.
Stars, yeah. Listen, it's a great position to be in.
Yes.
I didn't actually realise it was Forrest's 500th game coming up this weekend. It could be written in the stars for him to do something in that game. It would be absolutely brilliant to see it. For me, in that game, I think I would probably edge towards Kuhn, and I love Forrest, I absolutely do. But I think it was Stephen maybe said in the comments that Forrest an impact for the bench. I think he would be really effective. I think I'm going for Kuhn because he's in a rich vein of form. He's playing with confidence, and you're starting to see now that he actually has got a lot of pace in his locker. And I think on both sides, with Maeda and Kuhn, that pace on both sides, Rangers will really struggle with. And then whoever it may be in the middle, either Kyogo, them just feeding whoever it is. Me personally, I would go with Kyogo, as long as he's fit, which we'll imagine he will be because he obviously came on at the weekend. But like Jed says, it's a good problem to have. But I think we've got our pick. Three really good options on the wide areas now, and it's helped even more by the fact that Forrest can play on both sides. Some would argue Maeda can play on both sides, but he has to play on the left. He's the man for the left-hand side, but Forrest can come on and he can replace Maeda, and he can come on and he can replace Kuhn. In terms of Palmer, for me, I don't know what the cryptic stuff's been getting said online and stuff like that, but I just think he's got loads of ability and he's got a really good delivery. He can have a shot at goal. but I think his work rate and the lack of pace that he has is the reason that he's probably at Celtic. To be honest with you, when he first came in, I thought he was really good player, and I couldn't believe. I think it was rumoured that Michael Beale had said they didn't want him at Rangers, and I'm starting to see now why that was, because I don't think he does enough in games. I think he's all right domestically to come on once a game's done. Like just when a team's tired and he can have a shot at goal, he can put a great cross in or whatever. But for me, he's not good enough to be a starter for Celtic. And I know when he first came in, he had a few really good performances in Europe, and he did get a couple of big goals on that stage as well. He certainly got a goal. I think it was against Atletico Madrid. He was really unlucky not to get a goal at home to Lazio. But I think over the piece since he's come in, I think I'm starting to really see Palma for what he is, and that he's just a good squad player. But as a starter for me, he's way off it. And Yang, I know that we'll say that word again, but he is really raw. But he plays off the cuff, Yang. I think he's got a lot of skill in his locker, and I think that him and Palma are not quite at the level to start for Celtic at the moment. But I think that the deficiencies or the attributes in which Yang is sort of lacking at the minute are attributes that can be coached into his game. They can be coached better in that his delivery, his sort of game understanding, that can all be coached in. But you can't coach pace into Palma. You can't. You could maybe coach work rate into it. But for me, I feel that Yang's got a higher ceiling than Palma. He's way off it now. But I think there's a player there. He has all the attributes to be a traditional classic Celtic winger. But whether he's got the mindset to get that to the level that we need on a consistent basis remains to be seen.
But Ross, remember last season, the game he got sent off at Hearts. Prior to that, he was in fact young.
Aye.
We were all saying, "Oh, is this that boy looks who's up there?" And then he just fell away after that. So he did.
Aye. But
he lacks belief in himself.
Yeah.
So,
listen, he's definitely not a starter.
No, nowhere near it.
No. And talking about starters, and it's kind of going back to what you said, Jed, about potential new signings. Ross Bernardo, does he start on Sunday for? Is he starting Sunday for you? Do you think he can fill the void for O'Reilly? Sorry, as well.
Of course, we don't know if we're going to sign any other midfielders. I'm sure we'll maybe touch on the sort of possible links or whatever. But if we go in, hopefully we don't. But if we go into that game, with the squad as it is in its current guise, then absolutely Bernardo starts the game. As I've said earlier in the podcast, I don't think he can be Matt O'Reilly right now, if at all. But he's got a lot of good qualities. He keeps the ball ticking over. He keeps it moving. He's no scared of a tackle. He's no scared of a shot. He's got a good shot on him. He's got a goal in his locker. He's got great work rate. I think he's got all the attributes to be a really good Celtic midfielder. And I think he played more football than Rodgers probably expected, certainly in the early part of his sort of loan spell last season. But I think for the most part, he really gave a really good account of himself. He grew into being a Celtic player, so much so that Celtic obviously decided that he was good enough to bring him back, albeit not for the fee that was mooted to begin with. But I think it was at $3.5 million. I think that was a fair price for Bernardo at the minute. But I think that he can definitely come into that team. Listen, he done it last season. He doesn't have to prove himself. Certainly not to me anyway. He done it last season against Rangers when, I can't remember, I think it was probably Hatate would have been injured at the time, so he was sort of deputising for him. Matt O'Reilly was in the team, so we're always going to be a better team with Matt O'Reilly in the team. But now that Hatate's in the team, we're always going to be a better player with Hatate in the team, and he's sort of deputising-ish for Matt O'Reilly now. But it's harsh to say that because he's his own man, he's his own player, and he's got his own style and he brings his own qualities to the game. But in that game, I think it was the New Year game against Rangers at Parkhead,
It was.
he was brilliant and he got a tremendous goal. So there's absolutely no doubt that Bernardo can come in and do a job for Celtic against Rangers at any given time.
Well, see, on that front, you don't get many players who make the first appearance in a derby game. Alistair Johnston did at Ibrox.
Juranovic done it at Ibrox as well.
Yeah.
Aye.
Listen, you just got to hope Hatate's still here because he's playing Friday night.
Oh, he'll be.
You know,
I think it will be.
you've got to hope that, because I do feel even with Bernardo, O'Reilly, McGregor, Hatate, it's still a strong midfield. I'm quite happy with that going in on Sunday. If we do sign the boy from Augsburg, I can't see him starting unless Hatate's sold.
No, I was saying that I think that will be the midfield three, and I know folk have said like Bernardo will be O'Reilly's replacement. I think Hatate, if you go for the three, maybe more the O'Reilly replacement three, because it looks like Bernardo can kind of get about the park a bit, wins it back, retains the ball, got a good pass on him, can run with it and drive with it, and it allows McGregor to get up the park a wee bit. But we'll kind of go on to Brendan Rodgers' comments, Jed, after the game and stuff. Obviously, a lot of it was dictated around about the upcoming week with transfers. It was a lot that was getting asked. And for me, anyway, I mean, I was quite vocal in the group chat saying about it. It was a wee bit more upbeat. How I interpret it, was a wee bit more upbeat, thinking we'll get things done. And it was a bit. We had a lot of folks saying it, a bit box office Brendan. Some of the stuff he was coming away with, he admitted it's not an ideal situation where we're in, but we are where we are. But he was also confident he will, by close of play Friday, we'll get that quality in. I did like the one where he sort of had a wee quip, and again, what I was reading into that is where he had the wee quip about a phone going off, and he said, "Oh, is that Michael telling me to stop talking and stuff?" So he's always having a wee joke and stuff and things like that when he's talking about transfers, saying, "I want this, I want that. I think we'll do X, Y, and Z or whatever." So I think the fact that he's joking about that, I think he's in a confident place, thinking we've got to get business done.
Yeah, Ross, I think. Sorry, Franny. I think as well. He's basically said what all the fans have said. He wants the money spent, and I said last week as well, and I've been kicking off. Let's not kid ourselves. The board has been they have been shocking. Why we didn't have players in by now. We have hardly spent a penny. I know people will say, "Oh, we've got paid £9.5 million, potential £9.5 million for either the Bernardo deal, the goalkeeper." Got to mind, guys, we sold Abada. We've sold the boys went down south to Stoke, £3 million for it. So we've hardly spent anything. We're not even scratched the surface of what we've got, what potentially we've got. And the fans proved it after the game, getting on top of Lawwell. And give him his due. Lawwell stood his ground a wee bit. But let's just hope there is a lot of signings this week, because, guys, I've said all along, we have strengthened one person this transfer window, and it was a goalkeeper. Our outfield is now weaker because we've lost O'Reilly. We need quality coming in. And the players that's been mentioned, I mean, when you see the boy, the Arnie boy that went in for, and if you believe what you see, we went in with a £6.5 million bid, when they've already said it's £9 million. Come on, we've done it with O'Reilly. We told you it's 25, but to start with add-ons. So let's stop pissing about. Let's get the deals done. because, I mean, I jokingly put on the WhatsApp about like, if we don't sign anybody, this will be outside Celtic. But that was just a joke. But listen, the Naters will be restless if we do not get players in. And it's no good just signing one or two. We need a lot more in. A lot more in. We need a left-sided centre-back in. So I just hope. And Rodgers, he's played a blinder here in his interviews. He's putting everything back on Nicholson and the board. You know what I want? Get it done for me.
There's no lot I can kind of disagree there with Jed. Is like, I think Rodgers has been smart with his comments. Everything has been, he's aligned himself with the fans a lot. I think Ross with what he said. I mean, a lot of what I said is probably what the fans have seen as well. But equally, could it be that he's not? Don't mean this as he's working his ticket, but he's making sure the fans know this time. If he does say we don't do the business that we maybe expect to do by the end of this window. Now, I'm not expecting Rodgers to walk anytime soon, but maybe if you get to January again and something like that happens and he does then walk, the fans will know now why he has. But for me, his mood seemed a wee bit more jovious and stuff, and it did. He looked confident. Obviously, we didn't know. It came out that apparently we bid last night for that end goals. Obviously, the Barcelona boys was well down the line, Billick saying, so we didn't find out about them till this morning. Obviously, Rodgers would have known about these things. The end goals one, I think, I said in the group chat earlier, I think with that being made so public, the fact that the guy that reported it had been rejected had said we've agreed terms with it, I think that's a deal that will happen. It just might be one that will take a couple of days to happen. I hope we sign this Polish boy as well, Ross. Again, don't know anything about these boys, but just their profile seems where I want to kind of the level of type of investment. If we can get a centre half in, great. I mean, if we got a winger in as well, brilliant. But I think I'll be asking a bit too much to get. I think that's 5 boys I would be looking again. But where were you with Rodgers' comments and stuff?
Well, I seen a lot of folks saying that obviously that this was him sort of putting the pressure on the board and stuff like that, and it was like a shot across the bow. I don't think it was. My take was that I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something along the lines of, obviously we shouldn't be in this position at this stage of the window. It's not ideal. It's not where we want to be. And people took that as him like basically saying that the board they're not batting him and stuff like that. For me, what I think he was alluding to is the fact that he said something about he's been here for 3 transfer windows and it hasn't been great. And I think we can all see that it hasn't been great. And I think that my take was that in the first 2 transfer windows, we had the wrong recruitment team in. And then this window, we don't have our recruitment team at all. So, and then he said that we have to fix what's happened in the last 3 windows. And I think what he was saying was that going into the next window, we can't be in this position where we've had the wrong recruitment team and then no recruitment team. We have to have the right recruitment team for the next window. And in this window, it's taking far too long. I'm not blind to that. It's not perfect. Rodgers knows it's not perfect. The fans certainly know it's not perfect. I think even the board themselves know this isn't perfect, and I don't think they would try and deny it. You looked at Peter Law yesterday. The fact that he's fronting up the fans speaks volumes to me, because I think that they are trying to get things done. They're trying to do business, and for whatever reason, it's not quite coming to fruition yet. And listen, I've always held out hope that going into the last week that there would be business done. I think things are starting to pick up a wee bit of pace. I've no idea why it's taking to now. Absolutely none. And I'm not defending the club for that. But I still have the hope and the belief that we will get maybe 2, possibly 3 over the line in this next week. Again, it is not perfect, but if we can get them in and then get the right recruitment team in place for January, which I'll still maintain, and I'll say it to him blue in the face, is a harder window to get players in. It's not impossible. You can do it, but it's difficult. But I think going into the following summer, I think if we maybe even get 1 or 2 in January, that again, of the quality that Rodgers is looking for, then you go into that summer and you hope, if what Rodgers is saying and what I'm taking for it is that right recruitment team is in place, that we can go again and build onto this squad. But then you obviously have to realise that we will probably lose players as well, because it's just the way it. But that's when you go again and you rebuild and you add to the squad, and Celtic keep rolling on. Matt O'Reilly is gone, and for a week or so you'll be disappointed and gutted. But I wish that guy all the best, because he deserves to play at the very top level. But Celtic will go again, and it's a constant turnover of players, and you'll not always get it right in the market. But if the rumours of the players that we're going for are to be believed, then for all the world it looks like that level up for what we signed certainly last summer. It's that sort of bracket of what Rodgers has been talking about on paper. Whether it comes to fruition that they are the quality, certainly on paper they're that bracket, and it's looking more promising for me. And everybody will tell me in the group chat that I'm Mr. Positive, and I get that. And listen, maybe I'm too positive sometimes, and I'm not saying what I'm saying is gospel and it's right, because everybody's entitled to their opinion and everybody reacts in different ways. But for me, I watch our manager, I watched Rodgers in the press conference yesterday, and he is jovial and he is joking, and he makes that joke about Michael Nicholson. It doesn't smack of a man who is upset and fed up of this board not giving him what he wants. It smacks of a man, to me anyway, that understands that we don't have the right recruitment team in place, and we didn't have the right recruitment team in place before that, even though when he came in he thought it was, and it was working really well. It wasn't, and he's now realising that. And I think, to me, it looks like a man who realises that we need to get that part right, and when we do, things will start going a bit better in the market. Things will maybe start moving a bit quicker. But for the moment, we just have to be that wee bit more patient. And I think Brendan Rodgers has shown patience, he's shown class, and that box office sort of attitude. And even if we don't get the signings in this window that we hope, I think we will, but if we don't, Rodgers has got this team playing really well now. For all the world, not all the quality that he wants, but it's going to be more than enough domestically, absolutely. And we all want to make that next step in Europe, of course we do. And I think the way we're playing now, we're a better team, as I've said numerous times now. I think we're a better team now than we were going into this competition at this time last year. And that's even losing Matt O'Reilly. I still think we're functioning better as a team. And I think it's been evident for the start of the season. That's not to say that we'll be able to get more points or do better than what we done last year and qualify into the next stage of the Champions League. But at the same time, if we sign the guys the quality Rodgers wants, that next bracket, of course it gives you a better chance in the Champions League. But we could go and sign the guys and still not get out of that group or whatever it is, however it works now, because it's difficult, it's tough, it's cutthroat, and if you make a mistake, you're punished. And yes, they will still be better. They might be better players and better quality and give us a better chance, but they're a better quality than what we've got, but they're still a lesser quality than the vast majority of teams in that tournament. But of course, you go in there confident, and that's just where I'm at off the back of that press conference and all the stuff that's went before in this summer window. I really hope that we get some of the bodies in that we like. I said at the start of the window, 6, 7 we needed. I didn't think we would get that in the window if we'd sign guys for the start. We're certainly not going to get it now, but if we get 2 or 3, I'll be more than happy with that, especially if, even though I don't know much about the guy, if we get the depth that we all crave for left back, we're looking at this guy for Lazio possibly. If we get another winger, I don't think that's paramount, but listen, it's another body at the top end of the pitch who it gives us that other option, because right now I think we've got, as we've said, we've got 3 really good options on the wings. I think if we get another one, this guy Filazzo, if it is to be him, then it gives us 4 really good options out wide. I would love to see us get a left centre back in as that third signing. Whether it'll be that or somebody else, I don't know. But time will tell. But that's again, I might be being too positive, but that's just where I'm at this stage.
Ross, let's be honest. Let's be honest. I was angry last week. I'm still angry. I'm getting angry now thinking about it. The board has let the fans down big time. Stephen put up a good point. We're going to be held to ransom now because people know we've got the money from the O'Reilly deal, etc. Even if we didn't have the O'Reilly, didn't get sold, we have the money to go out and spend. We should have had guys in a month ago. It's an absolute joke what the club, the board are putting us through now. We could go out and we should have had at least, said end of last season we need 5 or 6 players in. And we're in the final week, final 5 days of the transfer window, and we've not strengthened out. Absolute joke. Absolute joke. And the buck stops with the board. And if Rodgers does go because of this, every fan will understand. Absolute embarrassing that the fans are putting money in all the time. Even guys are not going buying all the tops, everything. And by the way, I found out yesterday, and please, if someone else can verify this, see the people that's on the waiting list now. The waiting list, as far as I know, is over 40,000, right? £15 they have to pay to be on that, right?
Yeah, per year.
So please, if I'm wrong or if I'm right, I heard this in the pub yesterday, and I'm like,
I think it's 20.
Right, come on. So there's more money is coming in. I didn't even know about. The board, honestly, have let the fans down big time. We've never been in a better position. And what I can remember in all the years I've followed Celtic, financially. Go out.
Nobody's doubting that, though.
But Ross, I know that, mate. But it's dereliction of duty that the board were waiting to the final 5 days to scrape the barrel. Who are we going to get? These players.
I think it's poor. Sorry, Jed, on you go.
No, they should have been in and working, because there was a chance. We all knew O'Reilly was going to be going, because it was well known that was the people had to buy for, and we're going to be scraping the barrel now. I hope I'm proved wrong. Nothing would please me more to come up and say, guys, I got that totally wrong. But the way I feel now is it's an absolute embarrassment to every follower of our club, the way the board is treating us as fans.
See, but do you know, well, to me, right, as I've said, I don't think Rodgers looks like a man that's fed up with the board. I think Rodgers looks like a man that understands we haven't got the proper recruitment team in there now. And I think, yes.
But Ross, that's there again. That's dereliction of duty.
Aye, well, that's what I was going to say. That possibly should have been in place before this summer window. But then at the same time, you could flip it and say, right, well, at least they're taking their time over it and getting this right, and not just giving it this jobs for the boys that everybody's on about. They're wanting to get the right guys in. So if they're taking their time and it takes beyond this window, which it obviously is going to, but they get the right team in for to take us into the future windows, then I'm okay to wait for that. I'm quite patient that way. I'm quite happy knowing that. Listen, you're saying they're scraping the bottom of the barrel. You don't know that for sure. I'm not saying you're wrong. We've left it late, but we're looking at guys like Engels at $6.5 million we bid. I know he's worth more than that, but to me that doesn't look like bottom of the barrel. Listen, the Barcelona guy, I don't know how good he is. It's a loan signing. I think that possibly, I think it was James had said on it that I think he said that he expected it to be a loan signing, because I think that Kieran Tierney was coming to Celtic until he got injured, and I think that they're getting a loan in there as a sort of buffer for 6 months to a year, however long it may take for Tierney to get fit. And I'm not saying that Tierney is the right man for to come in. If we can keep him fully fit, he absolutely is. But it's a big risk because he's fitness. But I think that's maybe how we're maybe looking at I would agree with James. I think that's maybe how we're looking at a sort of loan for that role. And then again, I'm not blind to the fact that this is taking far too long, whether you've got a recruitment team or not. But see, at the end of the window, if they get guys that Rodgers wants in, as I've said, I didn't think we would get all of the players that we wanted and needed in this window. We absolutely won't now, but if we still get that sort of 2-3, I think that even over the course of a window, had we done it gradually and got one at the start, one sort of midway and one towards the end, then nobody would be moaning about that because it was spaced out, but it was still the three bodies. It's just because it's been left to this last week, I think it looks really bad, and it doesn't look aesthetically great on the board. But to me, Rodgers he looks like a man that's quite comfortable in his skin and is okay. Listen, he's not happy with it, but he's okay with it now because he knows that there's a recruitment team in the offing that they're working on getting in. And I think that's why he looks so relaxed, coupled with the fact that the team are playing really good football now.
Right, guys, think about this. Where's the one position that is crying out to get replaced? And we've done sweet effie about it so far.
Well,
centre
I would
back.
centre back or left back.
Centre back for Scales. Now, Scales, he's been fantastic. He's stepped up to the plate. He's good for Scottish football. But he gets injured. Who have we got? Stephen Welsh. An absolute.
Probably get injured getting named in the
It's
team.
an absolute joke. We're going in final week and we've not even got that position covered. It's crying out for that.
But I don't think that the board are just sitting there going, fuck it, we're not even signing him, we're not even trying. I think there's work going on behind the scenes. It's alien to me to think that grown men who are educated businessmen are sitting and they're either not seeing what we're seeing or seeing it and taking the decision to just go, fuck it, we just sit in that money. I just cannot get my head round that way of thinking. I don't think for a second that that's happening. I think they are trying to do the business, but for whatever reason it's not happening. But I don't think it's for the one to not trying.
What, Kim June Lawwell? It's a fucking dictatorship he's running. Get your finger out, get players in.
So I think, well, for me, I think that's where a lot of the frustration is with guys like yourself, Jed, and a lot of fans is obviously, I think it might have been Lawwell himself even said at the end of January, actually apologised for the window, said that it doesn't benefit sitting on all that cash. Then obviously, just for the optics, you're bringing out free tops again. You've got all the training gear. It seems like you're asking for a lot and not asking for. You're not giving it back to the fans. I mean, Ross makes tons of good points. I'm of that kind of train of thought as well. Like they can't. You wouldn't. Well, I don't think they can be sitting there not trying to get deals. But I totally understand. I'm a wee bit similar to you, Jed. A wee bit the frustration is just. It's obviously a lot harder than just saying get the deals done.
I'm frustrated, by the way.
I know. I think as I say, it's a lot harder than just get the deals done. It's just the optics of it all, I think, is frustrating a lot of fans. And we'll kind of just touch on the Lawwell thing, so I kind of think that feeds into it well. And I think for yourself, Jed, I think that maybe showed a bit in Sunday. I mean, I think you have got to credit Lawwell a wee bit going over, and there's obviously ways you could look at it. Maybe the positive of him going over and trying to engaging with the fans is because he knows he's got to get deals done during the week. I think it's hard to. I would never have a go at anybody for airing their views towards guys like Lawwell, and if they ever get that opportunity to speak to board members, because they're not going to really get that. I mean, the AGMs are kind of, it's invited folk essentially. You're not your everyday fan that goes to games, and the fans that did engage with on Sunday, these are guys that probably follow Celtic week in, week out, because you'll know yourself, it's a nightmare to try and get an away ticket. So these are guys that have he's probably spent a lot of money there. The only thing is that the guy is probably frustrated. He's just not to try and pigeonhole the guys. It's you can't. I think that gave Lawwell an easy out when he starts calling him an arsehole and shouting in his face. But I kind of understand the guy's frustration. But I think it'd have been better trying to keep calmer.
Exactly. But if it was me, you was saying, "Are you happy with what's going on? You're sitting with all this money. Look at it from our point of view. As far as I can see, you and the board are not doing enough to get new players into this club. So can you explain to me what you're actually doing?" That's what I would ask him. Whether they give me a reply is a different matter.
That's a fair question to ask.
I wouldn't call him an arsehole because straight away he's just going, "I'm not going to talk to you."
Aye, that's the wrong way to go about it.
I know. And listen, it was bound to happen. But well, like you say, and Ross said the same, well done for staying there. He never had any security with them either. So I'm just glad that no one tried to do anything stupid. But look, they've got
He's listening.
4.5 days to redeem themselves.
Apart Mark Kearney's saying Anthony Joseph's reporting that a formal bids went in for I think he said Bogus, the Polish boy.
The MLS.
The boy for the MLS. I think there was rumours over the weekend that was happening because he was playing some sort of final or something last night. See, I think for me, the Bogus, I don't know about the Bogus deal, but if there's a bid going in, it seems like it might happen. The Engels one, I think, will happen because it's been so public and stuff. But I'd also just kind of get your thoughts on the law one. As I say, I understand some of the fans' frustration. I just think the guy maybe let himself down how he'd done it, but equally, I can't really hold it against the guy because if you're frustrated, some of these things just you can't control your emotions sometimes, I guess.
Nah, for me, he went about it wrong. Listen, ask the question. Jed nailed it. Ask what is it you're actually doing? Do it now. I get people are different, and some people are a bit more sort of off the cuff, if you like, maybe fly off the handle a bit quicker. Listen, we're all guilty of flying off the handle. Look at the Everton supporters at
the train station.
The station in London. For me, don't swear at the guy. Don't raise your voice. Do you know what I mean? If you're at your work and somebody starts raising their voice at you or swearing at you, certainly if I was working in a house and the customer started speaking to me like that, I wouldn't accept it. But there's ways to do things, and yes, the question should be asked, and it was great that Law put himself into that position. Whether it was deliberate or not, probably wasn't deliberate. It was just the way, obviously, having to go into the ground and the Celtic fans are there. But he fronted it up, and he was. You could tell he was willing to have a conversation with the guy. But the guy, there was no talking to the guy to an extent because he just seen Law, and he's obviously the anger's built up. He was never going to lash out at the guy or that, of course. But I just, for me, you do it in a more calm manner and have a man-to-man adult conversation, and you'll probably get more answers than what you would have or what you would do going about it the way he did, and to the point where Law just was like, there's no talking to this guy really, so I'll just walk away and take myself out of the situation. So then we got no answers. Maybe if he'd done it more calmly, we'd all seen the clips and got more answers for the horse's mouth when he probably wasn't wanting to or didn't mean to, but it's just came out in the heat of the moment, if you like. But for me, it's not the right way to go about it. It happened. Law walked away from it, but then he obviously had an interaction with another guy, and he kind of shook Law's hand, and I don't know what it was said, but it was said in a bit of a more quiet fashion. But at that point, Law was getting into the sort of stadium. But again, if it was me in that situation, I would have probably asked a question. But I go back to it. I just, to me, cannot see for the life of me that board or Law or whoever is sitting in that thing with going, nah, we're just not spending money, Brendan. You're not getting nothing to sort of take this team on to another level, and that they're sitting on all this money, not wanting to spend it. It's just it doesn't make sense to me. Yes, I get that they haven't spent as much as we would like, but they got slated for buying guys that were cheaper, but they probably spent what they would spend on maybe 2 players that they're looking at now, and it never worked out. And I just think that the deals that they're trying to do now, in terms of, you look at Adam Ida, how long that deal took to get over the line. And this was a guy that wanted to come and play for Celtic, and it still took time to get over the line. The bigger fees for the next bracket of player are going to take a bit longer, but I also understand that it has taken, for whatever reason, far too long, and I'm as frustrated as the next guy, but I just don't go off my nut and fucking like going about it every day, and that's no me having a go at anybody that does that. That's their prerogative. That's how they want to do it. That's just not how I do it.
Can't wait till Friday, Ross. You have a big, massive explosion.
By the way, see if we don't, I'll be as angry as the next guy, absolutely. But right now, we've still got, what, 5 days, 4 days. So we'll see what happens. But it does look like there's moves being made, and Rodgers is still, as I've said, he still looked quite calm, hopeful, but calm. So we'll see what the next few days bring.
Sorry, does his transfer window close at 11 o'clock on Friday?
I think it's half 11. I think it's half 11, but it's half. No.
Right, okay.
I'm sure it's half 11.
That's another 2 players in that half hour, by the way.
See that, I know a lot of folk are obviously talking about how long it takes to do things, but once a Martinelli deal is, I think you can get deals done pretty quick in that. I think once we kind of know about them, like your everyday fan, they're probably far down the line.
But Franny, see what you're saying there, and it always amazes me. The last couple of hours, deals are getting stashed out.
It's mental.
That day. So how come that can be done quick then?
Because these players are surplus to requirements, and the clubs have got the other players in that they want, and they've got their squad where they want to be. But we don't need this guy, we don't need that guy, and then this team needs that guy. That's how it goes quicker, and they need to get it done quicker.
You can do medicals wherever they need to be done and things like that as well. And I think obviously transfer deadline days turned into a show in itself, essentially. And I think that forces clubs' hands because they want to do business on the last day of the window, because Sky's made it this big thing, that like transfer deadline day. And there's even like some rules, as long as there's certain paperwork in place, the player doesn't officially need to be signed, but obviously there's got to be agreements that the deal's got to go through. So I think that's how deals can look like they can happen so quick, but it still takes maybe 2 or 3 days to actually get them all official. I just kind of going back to a lot, I think Joseph McGowan, I've kept this comment up for a while, it's just to keep him remembering. I think he kind of sums it up perfectly. Like, for me anyway, if the boy engaged with him a wee bit better, Lowell probably would have sat there, and for me it's gave Lowell the out to walk away from the situation when the guy starts getting a wee bit more aggressive and stuff. But we'll just kind of, I'd seen another comment, where was it? It was a boy Stephen Kennedy, but I can't find it. Just there it's there. I think we'll all agree with that. The show's far better than 8 minus Stephen on
it. He's trying his best to go on it though.
Oh,
I know. But I'll just come to yourself, just a wee brief, because obviously Wednesday will kind of take a look at it as well, and Friday will be covered by the transfer window and obviously the derby. But you confident what you thinking going into Sunday in that? Obviously, as the state's got, team could be totally different, but I don't think starting wise will be any different.
Ross, Franny, sorry, I think it's very simple, and it's been like this for a number of years now. If we play at potential and Rangers play at the potential, we win. That is really that simple, because I think we are stronger in every department than them. And the good thing, they've you see all the social media, they're saying this, we're going to win in Sunday at Celtic Park. Rodgers has lost one derby game. One. And after this Sunday, it'll still only be one. I think it'll be, honestly, I think 3 or 4-0. I hope obviously I could have egg in my face, but I am confident. And like I say, I finish up my work and Friday, so I want my holiday starting off a very happy bunny. I'll enjoy my beer.
Good, lad. What about yourself? I mean, I think it could, if we start the way we've started all the games this season, getting early goal rush from me, I think it could maybe be, I thought Silly scores it, but I think it could be like, 4:20 somewhere. I think it could be a 4-0 or something. I think it could be a really good day. What about yourself?
Aye, similar. You didn't like to go into these games too confident, but I think it's got shades of sort of Angie's second season, I think it was. In the lead up to that, Rangers were in a wee bit of disarray, and Celtic were obviously flying, and they went into that game full of confidence. First game at home against Rangers, first game of the season against Rangers, sorry, at home. And we beat them 4-0 that day, and we blew them clean off the park. I think there's the similarities leading up to that, and in the way that the form has went. Obviously, Rangers got a really good victory at the weekend, and folk were jumping on Facebook and stuff and putting Desser's head on R9's body and that. Absolute screwballs. But listen, we just put our players on our players' bodies because they're all just quality compared to Rangers players. But for me, I'm supremely confident going into that game. I think, as Jed says, we're better in every department. I think we're functioning better as a team. We've got more of an identity. And even last season, when we didn't know what our identity was, and everybody was saying that they had an identity, we went and beat them 1-0 on their own patch with a makeshift team. We've got a fully fit team. Everybody's firing, everybody's confident. I don't see anything else but a Celtic victory on Sunday. And I know that form goes out the window with these games, and Rangers could turn up and get a lucky goal or any type of goal, and Celtic could misfire in front of goal on the day. It could happen. But we've all watched football for long enough, and we all know enough about football that, I mean, if Celtic play to their potential, as Jed says, Celtic win the game, especially at home. Rangers no fans in the ground. You look to get that early goal like we've done in every game this season. Whether we get it or no is a different story. But I think at some point Rangers' resolve will be broken because we have far too much quality at the top end of the pitch, with too much pace out wide. And whether it be Ida playing through the middle with strength or Kyogo with his pace and movement, Rangers won't be able to live with us. We're too good. We're far too good for them. And if we play to our best ability, I think we will win 3 or 4-0 on the day. I think it'll be comfortable.
Franny, I meant to say as well, see the fact potentially we have one player going in that's not played in a game like this before, Schmeichel, but he's got loads of experience. So not worried about him. Rangers have a lot of guys who's going to be coming in, not played in this fixture before. They ain't going to know what's hurt them. I go back to last season. We played Hearts, and the noise that day absolutely rattled Hearts. Hearts players couldn't cope. The intensity for the fans, and I think that'll happen again. I think the fans are going to be fully behind the team, and there are going to be a lot of guys shitting themselves, basically.
I feel like Paradise is for us speech coming on for Brendan on Saturday and Sunday.
Honestly, if they didn't play role with it after that, then what we even doing? We battling the need to play role with it. It's got to be done.
What do you think it's going to be, Franny?
I'm going to be bold and say 4-0, Jed.
Good.
Got to be bold and say 4-0. I think it could be very, very hurtful for them. I think they could be in ball on Sunday. Especially if we, like, who was it who said it? I'll try and get the comment. Small town boy. If we get some signings in, we know what the Champions League draw is. Obviously, that'll be difficult regardless. And then you give them a doing on Sunday. What a week that could be. What a week. We've got a lot to look forward. I mean, you could totally flip that, and you didn't get any signings in. You're looking at the Champions League draw, and you get beaten Sunday. It's a horrible proposition to look, but I'm all for.
And I go off my nut.
And you go off your nut on Monday. You and Willie are on here going. Stephen just comes on and just lets you and Willie go for it because we'll just be what you'll be doing.
Listen, I'm
but-
back on Sunday, and Stephen will find faults on me. So
Oh, aye. Somebody will find faults in it. Somebody will find faults in everything, shall we say. But no, we'll just carry that'll do us for the night. I think we'll be on again on Wednesday. I'm not 100% sure who's on. Then there'll obviously be
Think I'm
Friday.
on.
It's not quite confirmed yet for Friday, but we've potentially got to be starting a wee bit later to try and coincide with the Champions League. Not the Champions League, draw the transfer window shutting, just so we can talk about that, and also the Rangers game, obviously. But we might do a wee Champions League one. I don't know. It'll just depend on availability. We've done it a couple of times before, but we'll see. But did you enjoy this one tonight, Jed? You seem to get a bit off your chest again.
yeah, I do. I've actually, guys, I've been on, I think, the last 3-4 Mondays. I'm actually really enjoying the Mondays now. I get a wee bit of things off my chest. Ross gets it a bit tight off me at times, but look, it's all about opinions. And if we never had opinions, it'd be boring. You know,
Right.
I'm not right all the time, anything but. The day I stop learning things is the day I die. It's as simple as that. So we're all here, we're all fighting for the one cause, we're all wanting our team to do well. That's all. It's that simple.
I think that's it, Ross. It's like I said, we just none of us are saying we're right. We've just got difference of opinion, but we all just want Celtic to be successful. But have you enjoyed it tonight?
I actually have, and I kind of knew that once we got onto that sort of transfer thing, that there'd be a wee bit of to and fro between me and Jed. I was actually looking forward to it because it just adds to it, and it makes it.
Aye.
Well, anytime I watch it and there's guys disagreeing on this podcast or other podcasts, it adds to the watch.
That's what you want. Eh?
Well, guys,
but
hopefully
I've enjoyed it.
after the game on Sunday, we can maybe try and meet up for a wee pint in the pub.
Mhm.
We'll see. We'll try and do it.
Aye.
We'll be talking about all these
Well,
signings.
I'm going to the game, so
Aye.
maybe nip in on the way back.
Aye.
We'll be talking about all these signings. We'll be talking about them all. But no, well, that's where we'll end it the night. And we'll bid everybody farewell, and hopefully we wake up tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock to find out that Oasis are doing a reunion. Fuck the signings. Fuck the signings. Bye, aye.